Hey entrepreneurs, today we're breaking down 5 things you absolutely should not be doing while you're live streaming. The first is actually one of my biggest pet peeves. Have you ever been on a live broadcast when someone is answering a question and they see a comment pop up, stop what they're answering and switch over to another question? That is one of the worst things that you can be doing while you're live streaming. So as you're live streaming, never ever ever stop mid-sentence to answer something else, even if it pops up within the comments. Now the second thing is to go live without a plan. If you're going live without a plan, that means you don't have a lot of direction for what you're doing. You can't clearly state at the beginning of your video, your live stream, what you're going to be accomplishing during that conversation, and if people don't know where you're going with this or why you're doing this, they're not going to stick around. It also makes it really hard for you to know where you're going, what to say, and when to end your video. So always, always, always make sure you have a plan and don't go live without a plan. Now the third is for people who like to wait for people to show up on their live streams. This is a huge no-no, because if you go live and you say, we're just going to wait for people to show up, we're just going to wait for people to show up, we're just going to wait for people to show up, that means there's a long gap of time when people come to your replay and they're just watching you stall for people to show up so you have someone to talk to. This wastes their time, which means everyone on the replay, which is the majority of your viewers, are going to go away because you have just wasted their time. Don't ever go live and stall for people to get there. Always have content to be chatting about from the very beginning, and I would even go as far as to address the people in the replay, because your live stream people, your live stream viewers, are not going to see your introduction. So I would always jump in and say, hey, welcome to the replay. Today we're going to be talking about this, this, and this. Let's dive in, and people will join us in a moment. That's a great way to introduce this to make sure you're not wasting anybody's time and get those valuable replay watches. Now, another thing that you absolutely have to not do while you're live streaming is to ignore those incoming comments. If you're live and you have people joining you while you're live, you want to make sure you're addressing the people who are there. They're sending in questions, if they're sending in comments, if they're reacting to what you're saying, you want to make sure that you are calling them out and thanking them for participating in it. This also shows social proof that people are joining you while you are live. I know a lot of us tend to get in our heads and we have an agenda that we want to get through on our live streams, but if we jump in and just power through our bullet points without talking to people, why are we bothering to do a live stream? There's no purpose in doing it if you're not going to interact with your audience. So if you have a problem talking to people, making sure that you are checking those comments and putting them up on your screen, you may want to stick to just doing pre-recorded videos for the time being until you get a little more comfortable interacting with people while you are live, because if you're ignoring them, why do they have any reason to stay? Now the last thing I do want to talk about is making sure that you are giving those calls to action while you're live. So while you're on air, you need to be telling people what to do. If people are joining you and they're just listening, they're probably not going to leave as many comments. They're not going to like your video, they're not going to share it, they're not going to tell people that they are watching you live, they're not going to respond to you. So while you are live streaming, you do need to make sure that you're giving them calls to action. Tell them to get in your comments and respond to something. Tell them to click the share or subscribe button or the like button. Tell them what you need them to do. The more opportunities you give them to interact with you, the more likely they are to interact with you. And if you're continually asking questions and specifically saying, get in my comments and answer this, you're going to get a lot more engagement on your live stream, which ranks it higher in the algorithm system, and make sure that you are getting kicked out to more and more viewers because those people are interacting with you, and that tells the algorithm you're doing something right. So give calls to action, because on live streams without calls to action, you're not going to see a lot of engagement. Now if this was helpful to you, hit the subscribe and notification bell, because I'm dropping brand new videos every Tuesday and Friday. We've got our Social Media for Bosses talk show every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. We've got our live Ask Me Anythings on Wednesday, where I'm answering your questions in real time for 20 minutes, so you don't even have to wait for my videos. And make sure you are hanging out with our podcast every single Sunday, everywhere podcasts are streaming, with completely unique content to help you grow a profitable business through smart social media marketing. And make sure you hit up camrobinson.com and socialmediaforbosses.com for bonus content behind the scenes. There's exclusive videos, there's trainings, there's free webinars, and all sorts of amazing things that you do not want to miss out on. So head on over to camrobinson.com, and you can learn more about the Social Media for Bosses podcast and talk show at socialmediaforbosses.com. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. In the next video, we're actually going to be talking about the difference between Facebook Live and YouTube Live. What are those differences? What do we need to know? Which one's better for your business? And making sure you know how to use these to create that profitable business within your brands. I'll see you guys in the next video, where I'm breaking down everything you know about Facebook versus YouTube Lives.